getting into it. Instead of starting with a hand in the collar, anytime I have a hand in the collar, it basically means I want to go for collar chokes, right? Or depending on how he reacts to the collar chokes, I might want to go for an arm bar or something, right? But to set up the arm triangle, I want to start with my arm under his head. I want to start with a neck hug, okay? And the deeper the neck hug, the better. So I don't want just this where my hand's holding his neck. I want my arm as far through as possible. And that's going to make the choke easier to apply, okay? Now from this position, I always keep one hand posted, right? Because I'm giving up part of my base by hugging his neck. So if I keep my weight over here, I'm kind of asking to get trap and rolled. So I always keep my head a little bit on this side, keep my hand posted out for base. My goal now is to get underneath his elbow, okay? I want to be able to get my hand underneath his elbow and kind of jack his arm up like this, all right? Sometimes the person will have their arms tight to their chest, like this kind of position, keeping it in close. I don't need to get under his whole arm. As long as I can get under the tip of the elbow, and now keep your elbow down here, right? I'm going to use my hand on the ground, and I'm going to start walking his arm north, this way. See that? So I'm literally using the mat, okay? Using the grip of the mat, my hand flat, and I'm doing this. I'm walking with all 5 fingers, okay? Now during this process, sometimes I'll be under the elbow, right? And he's going to know, or at least not feel comfortable with the fact that his arm is getting lifted like this. So he's going to start to pull his elbow down, right? So let's say you bring your elbow back to your ribs now. Yes, this kind of thing, right? So this becomes a battle. If I take my hand off the ground and I try to force it and he brings his elbow down at the same time, I'm probably going to lose that battle, right? This is not a very strong motion. But bring your elbow down again. I keep my hand stuck. As he's trying to bring his elbow down, I don't move, okay? When his arm gets a little bit tired, right, and he starts to release a little bit, then I walk a little higher. He starts to pull his elbow down to his ribs again, I don't move. His arm starts to give out a little bit, he gets a little tired, I move again. So that's kind of the game. This process of getting my partner's arm all the way up here might be a full minute, right? It might be 30 seconds, who knows? If he's not resisting at all, it'll go very quickly, right? But as soon as I go here, most people will start to pull their elbow down, so keep your hand flat. As much friction on the ground with your arm as you can have. All right, and once he releases, look, I'm just using my fingers to walk, okay? Now at this point, I'm walking his arm all the way up until I can grab his armpit with this hand, okay? Once I grab the armpit, now I'm good to start bringing my head to the other side of his elbow. I want my head on this side, okay? And now from here, normally when we do the choke with this particular setup, we're gonna find ourselves a little bit too far north on our partner. So once I get my head on this side of his arm, I'm going to connect my grip. This arm that's hugging his neck is palm down, other one palm up. And I'm going to just bring everything south a little bit. I don't know if you saw that, but I just shifted everything a little bit south towards his legs. And now from here, I have to make sure 2 things are happening. One is I'm biting his neck with the bend of my right elbow. And 2, I'm using my head to press towards his head, which pushes his shoulder into his throat on this side. So I'm squeezing from 2 directions. Now from here, I'm actually going to dismount. I take my leg off, I flatten my hips in the side control here, and I keep my head down the entire time, and now I'm going to start walking around and squeezing with my right arm at the same time. If the person doesn't tap, we just keep walking, keep walking, keep walking, keep walking, keep walking, okay? But they should pretty much tap after the first, 2 or 3 scoots on this side. It should be pretty much on. If not, you might have to go back to the mount and readjust some of the details, right? But the main thing is this. So actually, if you sit up real quick, just a little. So this arm here, his shoulder is pushing into his neck this way. The bend of my arm is biting into his neck this way. So I literally have a triangle locked on his neck with my arms instead of my legs. So that's the position I'm going for here. And I have to make sure my head stays down. I can't do this because his arm is going to pass over my head. And I'm going to lose that right shoulder. Like bring your arm to this side, other way, over. Yeah, like that, right? So as soon as he goes over here, bring your head arm over again. Can't do it, right? As long as my head's on the ground, I'm good. Okay? So one more time. We find ourselves in the mount, right away, hug the neck. This is a good idea anyway, especially if the person's like bumping and bridging and twisting. It's good to stay low. It's good to hug the neck. Now I'm going to get under his arm. Walk, 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 walk. If he gives me resistance here, don't be impatient. Don't start trying to muscle this way, right? Just take your time. Here, walk, walk, walk. Here is this. Walk, 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 until I can, look, get to the armpit. My hand here stays, right, until my head passes over, and then I get here. So I'm palm to palm, the neck hug arm, palm down, other one palm up. From here, sometimes I like to step and kind of like do this, kind of ratchet my arm deeper. You see that? Now I'm already choking a little bit, right? On that side. Even without dismounting, if I just pressure into him here, you can pretty much finish the person. It's just not quite as tight a squeeze from the mount. That's the only reason you don't do it. You could try it, and if it doesn't work, dismount later. But normally you'll have to dismount to really get the guy if he's resisting. So we're here, pull up a little bit, ratchet, 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 reconnect, come back down. And now I do a little windshield wiper over his legs. Don't get caught in the half guard here and have him start doing the lockdown and stretching you out and doing all that. You don't want that. So you go here, windshield wiper over, hips flat, head down. And now from here, I'm making a muscle on my right side. I'm using my head to press into his head, and I'm just walking around slow. Cool? And we need to see it again. See that, get passed out again.